Well, guys, there seems to be a lot of discussion these days about Mr. Hogan swinging left. So, what do you think about we develop a drill for these nice folks and show them a good way to learn to swing left like Mr. Hogan did? Good idea? All right, let's give it a try.
Let's start this video by looking at two different players. We got Luke Donald on the right, Mr. Hogan on the left, and we're going to start at the moment of impact. So you'll see there's a little more space between Luke's hands and body at address, but we're just going to use these lines as a measurement. So from the moment of impact, we're going to see the hand space between the hands and the body is not really closing down very much. And you can probably tell a little bit of forearm rotation there. So at this point here, we can see the end cap of the grip. Now if we look at Mr. Hogan, of course this is much faster video, but you can see his hands immediately go left, and next frame, hands completely disappear. So that's our starting point, so we can have some good information. What are we talking about when we look at swinging left? Now, as you go about learning to train this type of release, we need to clarify there's about 3 different ways to square the golf club. You could use a flipping type release, you could use a crossover type release, or what Mr. Hogan used, which was a body-based release, which gave the appearance of him swinging left, but we also need to clarify he was not swinging over the top. It's from the moment of impact in follow-through, the appearance is swinging left. And what that means is from the moment of impact into follow-through, it appears that the hands start to get closer to the body, but the club head stays in view, and the end cap of the club disappears left as well. So the hands and the grip disappear left, but the club head stays in view from this perspective. So for training, we want to start, if this is something you've never done before, we want to start in the most simple way possible. You could use a tennis racket, you could use a badminton racket, you could use a ping pong racket, you could use a paintbrush, it doesn't matter. The important part here is to get your eyes used to seeing the proper way to do this, and then training it away from the ball for a little while before you're ready to grab a club. So what I'm doing here is basically just bent my right wrist backwards. This is pretty similar to where you would see a tennis player racket location with a forehand. Going to rotate my body. Now the racket face is downrange. Continue rotating around, and you can see the racket is over here to the left side of my body. From face on view, there goes the right wrist hinging back. And that's not opening the club face, that's just hinging straight back. Rotate the body all the way around. Then you want to do this with your left hand. So now your left hand's going to hinge. Rotate and continue. So we'll show you 3 different perspectives here. Left wrist hinges back, impact, continue rotating, and you can see left wrist is still pretty solid there. And there would be the finished position if I move my body back towards impact, or address, sorry. Then you can do 2 hands. So we want to learn to do this really slow for a while till we get used to the little idiosyncrasies of these movements and how they work. So let's go grab a racket, paintbrush, ping pong paddle, whatever you have, and let's start slowly going through this. Now we're going to piece it all together in one continuous movement. Then we're going to start lowering the racket by leaning forward from the spine. And at this point, that's what we're talking about. You can see the face of the racket, but the hands are starting to disappear from this camera angle. Lower a little bit more. Rotation. Everything's synced together. Now, once you feel confident that you are doing this correctly, then we're going to grab a golf club. We can do either hand, train them separately, and then put both hands on the club. We're going to switch back and forth between right hand, left hand, two hands, and as you can see, we're just kind of staying nice and tall right now. And we're going to lower, hinge back, rotate around. Go lower, hinge back, rotate around. And we can do it with a ball. Of course, we're going to basically be hitting these 15, 20-yard shots. And of course, even though you're going to try to tell your brain to stop here, it's pretty difficult. So you're going to see, if you watch yourself on video, you're probably going to give it a little bit more of a backswing, but we're trying to really keep this pretty short. And we're going to use the body rotation. Squares the face. Club head stays visible. Hands are starting to disappear left. And that, my friends, is how you train this. You just go through piece by piece, and once you get to that golf club, you go nice and slow, and you practice repetitions until you start to get the whole feeling of what you're trying to do. And pretty soon, you'll be learning to square that club face correctly with your body, and instead of these flipping and crossover releases that really cause some issues with accuracy and solid contact. So that's what we've got for you. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please put your comments below, or if you have any questions, and thank you for watching.